Hi everyone, it's Mike here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to be having another play in my mini volume of the dolls, volume 2 of the dolls. So I've just got a couple of pieces of scrap paper. So that was the first page that I did in this journal. So I've just opened it up at random again and I'm going to work on this page. So, or this double page spread. So I've just put some scrap card between the pages just so I don't make a lot of mess on the preceding or pages coming before, after, preceding, post. One of the two. Anyway, I've chosen my paper dolls, so I'm going to have these lovely set of ladies and these, the creepy twins as they've become known, Cuthbert and somebody or other. Anyway, those of you who know that I don't like shiny paper dolls will notice that these are no longer shiny. So I have given them both, or both sets, a coat of Winsor & Newton Artist Acrylic Clear Gesso. Because I purchased some of this. So this is a spray fixative for inkjet printers and it says it's matte. So what this does is it will seal inkjet prints, make them watertight, or supposed to, protecting the ink. But it says matte, so I was expecting it to have a matte finish. It doesn't. Even though it says matte, it doesn't have a matte finish. It's more of a satin finish. I think probably if you sprayed it onto an inkjet print it would be fine, but when you're trying to spray it over a glossy thing to dull the gloss down, it doesn't necessarily work as well. So I then went over with a couple of coats of the clear gesso and that seems to have done the trick. There's a little bit, just a tiny bit showing through, but I can work with that, I don't mind that. So today, like I said, I'll put those two to one side. I've got my words, my quote phrase for this page, but what I want to do to start off with, I'm going to just bring out this stencil. This is the Plumes stencil. This is another one from my collection, one of my designs, but I haven't released this one yet, and it's not on pre-order yet either. I'm waiting till the post. I'm getting reports back that the post is back to normal across the States and across the rest of the world, or beginning to get back to normal, before I start releasing any more stencil designs. Mainly because if I put these on my website now, I can't guarantee when you're going to get them. So it could take another 8 weeks for it to get to you, because that's the kind of delays that the post office is experiencing around the world at the moment. I had one lady, Misty, thank you Misty, from Australia, who told me that her stencil got to her in record time, faster than normal, so go figure. Whereas some people in the States are still waiting. Some people within the UK, all posted together at the same time as the Australian one. I posted some American ones and some to the UK. The Australian ones have arrived before the ones in the UK. And of course, some of the ones for the States have arrived, some haven't. So it depends on where you are, your local location, I think, as to the speed that you're getting, all the stuff is actually getting to you. Because obviously throughout the rest of the world, and there are places still being locked down, still being affected by the COVID pandemic. Although it's better in some areas, it's worse in others. So it all depends on local postal distribution areas where you are as to where the bottlenecks are happening for delivery, if that makes sense. I can post here in South Yorkshire and it may stop when it gets to New Jersey, Newark, just outside New York, or it might stop and there may be a delay when it reaches Chicago, or there may be a delay when it reaches Los Angeles, Seattle, Ontario. You just don't know. New Orleans, Las Vegas, that kind of thing. Europe seems to be settling down a bit. Australia, obviously, they seem to have got their act together. The UK, just don't know. But anyway, I digress. So I'm still going to use it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some structure paste through this lovely new stencil, Plume, and I'm going to add some just through the page like that. And I'm going to go a little bit heavy. Now this design does have a kind of Art Deco fan to it, but it's also kind of just a nice background design for cards, art journals, even scrapbooks. Even scrapbooks would benefit from this one. And we'll have a little bit down here towards the bottom. I've got to make sure that I don't put too much where the crease in the page is. So we'll just do that a little bit there, and then I can just scrape that down. Just put that there, put that in some water, close that. Okay, just grab some kitchen towel, just wipe off my spatula. Okay, that'll do. And then I can just go down the centre crease just to remove any excess there. That way I know the pages are still going to close. Okay, so we'll need to get that dried off. Let's give that a little bit of a blast. Okay, that seems to be dry enough to work with. So what I'm going to do now, I forgot to mention, that was the structure paste I was using from a UK company called Imagination Crafts, in case anybody is interested. Right, so I'll pop that away. So I'm going to use my spritzers again and just give an overall colour. So this time I'm going to be using blues. So let's have a look. Where's that turquoise one? There we go. So just give it a quick shake up, make sure there's no gubbins in the bottom, and yes, that is a real word. And then we'll just add some of that, love that colour, to that side there, and then we'll see if we can find brilliant red and give that a bit of a squeeze about there. So yes, I am going to get a bit of purple coming in here, but I don't mind that. And then just to dull it down a little bit, let's get that lemon, say dull it down a bit, just to even it out a little bit. So we're going to get yellows forming, we're going to get some oranges and some nice kind of rainbow colours on this one. So let's dry that and see what we're going to get. And we'll take up some of the excess from the middle. Because that's where we'll get a bit of mud. We don't want that. Okay, so that's kind of dry now. You can see those beautiful colours that I've got with those spritzers, and they're just with the pigment powders. So absolutely adorable, and don't forget they are water reactive as well, which is what I'm going to do in a second. So I'm going to get my fan brush, just dip it in some clean water, and I'm going to splatter the whole background. Just to kind of give it a bit of additional depth. And we'll just let that sit for a second or so, or a couple of seconds anyway. And then when we pat that down with a piece of kitchen towel, that should lift some of that colour off, revealing a nice kind of marbly, well, not marbly because that's veining, isn't it? But a nice kind of splattery lightness to it. So let's just drop that down. Let's do half the page first. like that, and you'll be able to see the colour coming through. So when I lift it off, you see those extra dots. And again at this side, look at that. Fabulous kind of colour lift. Not so much on the yellow because it's a lighter colour and you can't really see it that much, but let's add a little bit of extra colour down there and see what happens. Just let that sit for a second or so. Okay, that should do us, I think. There we go. You can see a little bit more of the mottling going on there, look. Like that a lot. Yep. Happy with the way that looks at the moment. So what I want to do is I want to introduce a little bit of tonality into the background, so maybe a little bit of stamping. So to do that I want to try and find, because I should have found it earlier, my I've got a mini stamp with some illegible text on it, some script text on it. So I'll go and find that and I'll be right back. Well, there's a first for everything. I actually went straight to it and put my hand straight on it, and it was in exactly the first place that I looked. So there's the stamp. So it's the Collector's Edition number 2 French script mini stamp from Indigo Blue. It's only a little one. And I put an arrow on it so I know what's up and what's down. Now, if it's illegible, it doesn't really matter, but it's got loops, and it's got like loops from G's and H's and T's, so you can actually see if it's upside down or not. But that's okay. So that's up. So I'm just going to, I'm not going to stick it to a block or anything, I'm just going to ink it up using some stays on, and I'm just going to add some text into the background, just a little. Like I said, it doesn't matter if it's not perfectly straight or legible. Just a little bit of interest into the background. That'll do. That's all we need. Just something to add a little bit into the background of that image there. Okay, so that's solvent based ink, so it doesn't really take that long to dry, so we've got that. So now I'm going to add my 2 sets of characters. So we're going to stick the creepy twins there and those 2 there. Look, quick and easy page this is going to be. So easy. Let's grab some glue. Just make sure we've got plenty. It's always the case. Just a little splodge of glue there. A little block there. Excuse the noise of my telephone going off in the background. Should have put it onto silent. There we go. Flick that over, and then we can drop our 2 fabulous characters there. I've deliberately gone for images that look like they're twins. That's cool. And then the creepy twins there. Cuthbert and Cedric. So this is a good pair because they're also good for Halloween as well. And then we're going to stand those on there. So these are the areas that I didn't put much of the structure paste, because I knew I was going to be putting these down there. So bear that in mind when you're doing an art journal page, don't put your structure paste where you want to put your focal point unless you want it to be lifted off. There we go. So we'll let that dry for a little while and then I'll be back. Time to put the kettle on for a nice cup of coffee, I think. Okay, so my characters are stuck down quite nicely. I'm loving the fact that we've got a kind of vibrant page. That's nice and toned, kind of nostalgic, kind of vintagey. This one is a bit more kind of happy and vibrant. But I'm still going to add a little bit of darkness around the edges. So I've got my black soot archival ink, and I'm just going to go around just giving the edge just a little bit of a dark border. I'm just going to do it quite gently. I'm not going mad. My foam is about to fall to pieces, I think. But this will also help just to frame the page and make those colours inside pop even more. Plus, if you just bring it up a little bit at the bottom, it helps to ground your characters as well, so it doesn't look like they're floating in mid-air. So again, you could go with vintage photo or whatever. I want to go with black today. It's not a colour that I use very often on the edges of my pages, but if I do, I normally will put some kind of scribble border all the way around using the black. But today I just thought it would look kind of neat if we added that kind of vignette all the way around. Still looking kind of vibrant, so I'm still enjoying the way it looks. So I'm going to add some text now. So Tim Holtz Chit Chat stickers. So again, we'll just grab that black and just give them a little bit of a flick. Just around the edge. And we can stick that down about there. Not putting it down straight. So it just kind of diffuses the edges. Let's put that on the same kind of slanted plane as the stamp. And then the last one, we've got the word together. So these are from the, I think, the big chat, as opposed to the small talk. And I'm going to put that about there. Actually, maybe just a little bit higher, about there, I think. Or shall we do it this side of the page? Let's do it there, for the only reason that we can. And then finally, I've got a little phrase from the small talk. So rather than the individual words, these are little snippets, little sentence snippets. And I think this goes quite well with the sentiment of the rest of it. Strong when together, this is what family looks like. And I like that. So I'm pretty much just going to call that a day now. So all I need is just a pen. And did I sign and date the other one? I didn't, did I? I ought to do it. No, I'm not going to do this one then if I haven't done the other one. So we still need a little bit of grounding at the bottom there. So let's just take, I've got my Stabilo pencil kicking about somewhere. There we go. So we can just add, in fact, let's add it down here. rather than, and I'll use the brush rather than the brush pen, and I'll just activate that on my mat, and then I can just add some of that towards the bottom. This is why the black around the edge works, because I can still go back in and just diffuse that a little bit more. Just by adding a little bit more water to it. And then tissue. You can see I've lifted that colour off it. And the more water I add, the more colour comes off. With every press. So I'll go a little bit lighter just there. Bit of shadow. Bit darker just underneath. And then maybe just use the rest of that just to break up that yellow a little bit. Just some subtle little black splatters. And that's it, we're done. I'm happy with that little page. Like I said, not every page has to be vintage, not every page has to be dull and nostalgic. You can play with a little bit of colour and do a happy page. Enjoyed that. So I hope you've enjoyed watching me create that little page in my volume 2 of the dolls. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, share the video with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. That's all from me for now. I'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye for now. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. Thank you.